So today we're going to be working on this Polaris Big Boss 6x6. We're going to be putting a winch on it. So we got the bracket, winch, more electrical wiring. I'm going to walk through it. Hopefully this doesn't take all day. Let me go over this machine a little bit more in detail. It was sitting for 10 years. I got it for 500 bucks. These are new tires. All the tires are new. The seat's pretty much trash. It had a back seat, but took it off. It's only got 1,800 miles. Yeah, 1,880 miles. And this is still functional. The 6x6 does not work. I had to replace both of the brake master cylinders, and as you can see, the Chinesium parts are already causing this to corrode because there's not a good seal there and the brake fluid is leaking out and corroding the paint. So that's gonna have to be fixed. All in all, this has been a good machine. I put about 100 miles on it since I fixed it. Got it running again. It needed a new carb, new battery. Had to install a manual radiator fan override. Let me show you how that works. Because it was overheating during the summer. The automatic also works, but if you're towing a heavy load or going up a hill, I use that. Underneath, it's kind of rusted. Mufflers rusting out. Shocks are in decent shape. And the 6x6 does not work because there's supposed to be a chain right here. But in there, there's a sprocket. And then the chain runs under here, connects here, and then there are electric wheel hubs here. And on the other side that engage the front wheels when it's spinning. It's all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. Or I guess six-wheel drive in this case. So let's get back to the winch install. So first step is to install the bracket based off the instructions on here. You have to remove these three tabs here. Now you can't see that one, but there's 1, 2, and 3. Let me remove those real quick. I'm going to be using a trim tab remover. Next we have 2 spacer plates for each side. They go in between here and the frame. So let me get those. Comes with the hardware. I'm gonna bolt it up and I'll show you what it looks like after. We've got it bolted up. My only complaint with this is that those bolts, you know, barely come through those nuts. Same on the other side, which means, you know, I wish they would be like a 1/4 inch longer. I mean, they look nice, but just wish they were a little longer. That being said, if you want to do this, don't tighten down one side before you get all the bolts and the nuts on the other side, because it'll push this over and you won't have enough thread to push through. So yeah, get them both like hand tight, then use a wrench on them after you get both sides in. Next step is mounting the winch. I got mine loosely on there. So you sandwich the winch plate and this front piece here, and then you bolt it up underneath. I got 3 out of the 4 bolts. Teeth washers, you can tell they're really thin, but me straighten this cotter key. Should be good enough to go in. So I've got the cotter key pretty much on there. That's how I like to do them. I know some people do like one pointing out, one bent. In my mind, it doesn't really matter as long as the, you know, pin can't go back through. Let's get into the wiring, the fun part. Okay, we got a wiring diagram and some wire. And here's the switch box. Here's the handlebar switch. And a bunch of boots to cover the connections. So yeah, the winch is nicely color coded, but the problem is these wires are only about 1.5 feet long. A yellow here, blue there. Probably gonna run it through there. Let's see, the best way to do this is gonna be to follow the frame's wiring, which goes along here. All the wiring is underneath this panel. I'm gonna get this panel off in 3, 2, 1. While I was getting the plastic off, the really brittle choke decided to snap off. It's not a big deal. This thing runs good without the choke, and it is stuck in the choke off position right now. If you want to choke it, you can just, you know, use the pliers or something. But I'll probably replace that. I'm not seeing a good spot to mount that box. Maybe against the frame, like underneath here. Maybe down by the battery. I was hoping that there was gonna be a better spot like in here, next to this fuel pump here. So the box is down there. I'm gonna zip tie it to the underside of this plate, because then at least it will be protected by the seat. I guess that's the best place that I can find. The battery's right over there, and we're gonna run the wires along that frame rail straight out to the winch. But I have to drill some holes here and here to out the zip ties. It zip tied up, upside down. Here are the wires that are going to go towards the winch, as well as this one is going to go on the handlebars. This is going to be a little confusing, but I reversed the wiring, so blue and yellow on red and black, and red and black on blue and yellow. And I did that because the red and black are significantly longer than the blue and yellow. The blue and yellow, that's the power in from the battery. Comes right underneath through that fender, and here's the battery. So now all I need to do is just hook those up to red and black, and then I need to deal with all this. These go to the winch, and these go to the handlebars. It's getting dark on me fast, but got these wires. They're running right next to the frame rail. There's the carburetor right up underneath here, up against the frame here. As you can see, they come out. I got the negative going through the radiator grate there, and the positive swoops down, goes through the grate there as well. But you can see how that's routed there. This kit comes with boots to protect the housing. Okay, I've got the 2 connections made and covered. That should be pretty weatherproof. Now we need to clean up this wiring. It's getting nice and dark, so might have to pick up where we left off tomorrow. It is the next day, so we left off. We gotta wire up this handlebar mount, but we're gonna start by going ahead and hooking these wires up to the battery. Alright, so real quick, there's this second, wiring going to this battery, and it runs up against the frame. Now, it's not connected to the brake light. It goes to this, I guess, extension, hook up for power. I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to take that off. Here's our power. So blue is what I did, the positive, yellow for negative. Here's the final wiring. We got this zip tied up there and it isn't going anywhere. And then we got the negative ran to the negative. Blue in this case is positive, even though that's not really correct. My experience working on boats, some manufacturers like Volvo, they use yellow negative cables and black, but also yellow. So that's technically correct. Okay, the next step is going to be to mount the handlebar switch, which is right here. We're gonna mount it up probably somewhere like this. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm gonna mount it like here and then place it right here so that it's accessible from your left hand. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the switch mounted on the left handlebar right above the main switches on the left side here. So you can hit this with your finger and still use the throttle and all that if you're trying to get unstuck or something. I think that's a good spot. I'm going to tidy up the wiring. Wire all of this to go all the way back to these connections here. The wiring for this is zip tied nicely with the factory wiring and goes down, follows the factory wiring route right here, then just goes here. I could have cut this slack out, but this is a good place for it. It's under the seat, it's protected, it's by the air box. The reason that I ran these Winch main power wires like this is because the exhaust is right there. So I didn't want them to be next to the exhaust. Okay, so demonstrating it that this actually works. We have out, we have in. So make sure you actually have it set to engaged before you start pressing the switch like I just did. So you have out, you have in, and then the remote, you're supposed to hit this side power button to turn it on, and you just use this. I'm gonna get it buttoned up and I'll see you guys back when this is put back together. All right, so here's the final result. I think it looks pretty good. Wiring is, tucked away. There's enough clearance that I think plenty of air can get into the radiator. You got your switch, all the wiring's hidden. Even from the side, you can only see it up in there. So yeah, let's go try it out. For this test, we're gonna see if we can use the remote to pull the ATV. It's in neutral, so let's see. Okay, so it easily does pull it, which is good. So first test, passed. And, you know, I thought the remote was kind of gimmicky, but yeah, this is pretty nice. That it can just, you know, I don't even have to be riding the thing and pushing the button. The only problem is the signal is a little weak. See how it keeps cutting out? I think these remotes need new batteries. All right, now for the more important test. I've gotten us stuck artificially. I mean, as you can see, we're pretty stuck. I mean, I could back out, but I want to go forward. So we're gonna hook the winch to a tree, see if it'll just pull the thing under its own weight without using any help from the ATV. All right, I've got it hooked up to the ATV here, and I'm gonna ride it so that I can use the brakes. So just to demonstrate, we're stuck. Let's see if it'll help us. Oop. Gotta engage the clutch. There we go. All right, so it is pulling the front of the ATV. And it's pulling us up. So there we go. So it was in fact more than powerful enough to pull the four-wheeler uphill out of ruts right there. I give that 5 stars. It's doing what it should do. All right, so this is the final product of the winch install. Looks like the winch held up great. I mean, it is rated for 4,500 pounds, but this is a Chinese winch, so, you know, I didn't have huge expectations for it. I was testing the bracket more than the winch. I was kind of worried about this, but this is some thick steel, so that ain't going nowhere. You're probably going to see more videos on this specific machine in the future. I would like to repaint it, maybe sand down this rust and give it a new color. I gotta replace this chain, probably. I mean, you can see the condition of that. I mean, it's seen better days. So I don't know how long that's gonna hold on for. I have a brand new chain sitting, but that's gonna be a separate video. When I do the front drive chain, I think I mentioned it goes in there on that sprocket right there. Another issue with this thing is the loose steering. See that? That shouldn't happen. It's not very safe to drive fast. See the wheels? They don't turn. This turns. The problem is right there. Let me zoom in. Now this is the tie rod. I don't know if it's supposed to do that. I don't think it's supposed to do that. So, tie rod replacement might be warranted. But yeah, this is gonna be my first video, and if you like what you see, you know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll be posting more. I want to try and post some flip videos on machines like this where, you know, I can pick it up super cheap, like on Marketplace, and make it run and then resell it, make a quick profit. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. See y'all later.